What's up, guys? This is Akul Mac Live, and my name is Chandrakant. I'm your host today. And today we have a very important topic to discuss, which is how do you impress using your communication on a social media. And to discuss this subject, I'll be joined by my friend from UK, a very famous personality, Mr. Gaunt. So I will just step out for a moment and we'll be back along with my guest. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, friends. So today morning, let me welcome Naval to the show. Naval is also chairman of MindFit Ltd and is also 29th ranked global influencer. So welcome to the show, Naval. How are you doing today morning?
Good morning, Aquamac. Communication is the subject of today, CK, so I thought we'd start communicating. You heard that quite well, didn't you?
It was very loud and very clear.
Very loud and very clear and very, very one way. I wasn't expecting anything while I was saying it, and yet it might have switched people off, but it could have switched people on because they would have recognized it as Good Morning Vietnam from Robbie Williams many, many years ago. And it was his signature tune. And that's the first message we've got today. Have you got a signature tune? Some people call it a jingle that people can relate to immediately when they see you or your product or something else. So, CK, does that make sense? Have you got a signature tune now?
Yes, absolutely. And Akul Mac Live is our signature. You know, whenever we come on the show, we always say, welcome to Akul Mac Live. And that is our identification, also our cue. Before we proceed further, this show is going live across 6 social media platforms, and people can communicate with you, can indulge in our show live using the chat function. So viewers, if you have any questions or any comment, observation, feel free to shoot it out and we will respond immediately. So Naval, I think the subject really today is many times you don't know the other person when you're communicating using social media on Facebook or LinkedIn, and then you use your English language. You know, sometimes you use it or overuse it, and you may not start building the bridge. In fact, you even before you start building the bridge, you start removing the bricks out of it. So I think this is one problem that happens. Many people do this mistake, and even if they start the communication, they actually put the other person off. So what is your opinion, how we can solve this issue among people?
It's a common question that I get asked, and it's a common question that's actually out there in the Google world. How do you engage with your audience? The question is the answer is in the question, because it's about engagement. You and I have often had a discussion about how do people sell? How do you engage with your audience? How do you get known in the digital arena when there's millions of people, in fact, billions of people that are out there doing similar things to you? And the bottom line is really quite simple. You need to understand the phrase, people buy from people. And you and I have said this many times before, CK, but the thing about that phrase is it's always truncated because it's the other end of the phrase that's really important. People buy from people they know and trust. Now, let's differentiate between 2 types of products. One's that is freely available. It's on Amazon. You can become an Amazon affiliate. You can sell it like anybody else. This is just a commodity. It's something that's easily available on the marketplace. And actually what the result there is about price. That's fundamentally what people are going to do. They will run a mile, go the extra mile to get a rupee discount, because That's what it's all about. That's what most people are motivated by. If you look on Facebook Market, you always see, and eBay and all of these other marketplaces, you always see that people are given a rating. And if someone's given a 99.9% seller rating, inside your mind, you're attracted to it. And that's why Facebook and eBay do it. They're recognizing what you're going to be attracted to. Why would you go and buy from this person? So even if you don't know anything about selling and you start to go and sell something on eBay that someone else may have, by the way, you're just drop shipping from somewhere else. It's really down to that percentage. And that means they know and they trust you automatically. You don't even have to do the work. The interesting thing is you're doing all the work because you're responding to people that are buying from you. Even if it's only one person that's bought from you, you can have a really high rating. So you can manipulate these things if you go down the nth route. But the point I'm trying to make is Facebook are trying to tell you what's important. eBay is trying to tell you what's important. And it's that rating that's important. How do you get to that rating? Does this make sense, CK? You've seen all these things. Facebook are doing us a favor, aren't they?
Well, I think you have made a very important point. And whenever I buy stuff from e-commerce website, I always look at the customer reviews, and I actually don't look at the programmable customer reviews because those are biased. As you said that these things can be influenced, I go down further. I think you have to go down further, especially if you're on Amazon, and you have to check the real comments from the customer. So I actually check that, and because of that, my speed of ordering on e-commerce website is not very good because I spend too much time, because I burned my fingers by ordering without looking at terms and conditions, if there is no return policy and there is no feedback from the client, it turns out that the product that you buy is not up to the mark. So the customer feedback is very important when you buy. So I think when you make this point, it absolutely make sense because, whenever you're selling on e-commerce, which is like selling yourself on social media, the feedback is very important, and I think it's very, very true, in my opinion, that the first impression is the only impression you have today. and if you spoil that chance, well, you will lose an opportunity. That's what I feel, Neville.
You're absolutely right, CK. And the reason I ask you, you're my little guinea pig here, is because your opinion counts. Your opinion is like many other people out there that are thinking that way. And yeah, like you, I'm doing exactly the same. I will look at what the customer feedback is. And if there isn't many customer feedbacks, then typically I'll steer away from it. And the interesting thing is on these big sites, and this is where you can go and experiment. It won't take you a long time, but if you're into selling on the internet, selling a digital service, go and have a good look at Amazon. And go and have a look at a commodity that's freely available anywhere. Not freely, but easily available anywhere. And just go onto Amazon and look at how Amazon help you in your purchase. Not only are they giving you advice of where it comes from, in other words, who's the distributor, not necessarily who's the owner, but who's the distributor. And they compare it to 3 or 4 other products that are out there, could be exactly the same product. And if it's not the same product, they even give you a list of, there are 10 other available at this price. So it gives you all of the things you need to know about making that purchase. And we can learn, as business owners, we can learn a lot about that mentality, that process. They've invested millions in their sales process. So just take a leaf out of their book and have a look at what they're doing. It's not difficult to do. No, I can tell you lots of things, but frankly, You can learn lots of things in 20 minutes just by playing around on the Amazon profile. Even Alibaba. Go onto Alibaba and look at the same sort of thing, because these platforms are helping you click out, because that's how they make money too. Remember, they're on commission, so they're trying to make life easier for you. So let's look at the tricks that they use. But fundamentally, they're going back to people buy from people they know and like. And all they're doing is trying to accelerate that process so you can get to know them. And you can get to like them. And it may be you like them because they're a rupee cheaper than anybody else. And that's absolutely fine. You're making the decision. You're the informed customer. So what is it then that is wrong with your digital process, with your sales process? Are you getting people to know you? Or are you doing, as I see, an awful lot of stuff these days, and it's been going on, since the internet was created. People put a YouTube advert on there, and all they do is try and sell it to you. They don't educate you. They don't entertain you. They don't have a laugh with you. They don't make it funny and engaging. Notice we're using one letter here, E. Entertaining, engaging, empowering, because that's what these videos and the communication that you've got needs to do. It needs to empower the user. Hello, we've got this. Lots of other people have got it too. I want to help you make the best decision about where you're going to buy it. Because there's lots of products that are out there that actually there's a me too, and another me too, and another me too, and another me too. And if you noticed, all of those me toos in the main are saying the same thing. And if they're smart, they're not overcomplicating it, because all they are is just a middleman. But when you've got something special, this is the thing that I find really frustrating, CK, is when people have got really something special and they don't know how to sell it. Because the thing is, they're trying to sell it, but they shouldn't be trying to sell it. The whole point is we should be educating, entertaining, and empowering someone else to buy it. Why are they buying from you? Are you a nice person? Are you not a nice person? Maybe they don't need to know that, but it depends upon your product as to whether they do need to know it. Any of this making sense, CK? I see you smiling away there, and I'm sure you've had loads of experience and loads of questions that have come to you over the years about this very same thing.
Well, we have a viewer actually who's appreciating, and this is a message from Mr. Amit Singh, who's saying congratulations, this is incredible, and he is thanking us for sharing the wisdom. So thanking you, Neville, for sharing your wisdom. And he says that keep inspiring, keep igniting and educating. So thank you so much, Amit, for appreciating the work. And if you have any question, please shoot it out and we will answer that question right away. So Neville, going back to your question, I think the whole point is that when it comes to e-commerce, we have the comfort to check the customer reviews, and based on that we can make a decision. But when it comes to LinkedIn type scenario, where you're dependent on the kind of communication coming from the other side, even though you have written long essays, if the communication is not proper, then you are actually spoiling. Instead of building bridges, you are actually spoiling the whole thing. And that is a mistake a lot of people do actually. When it comes to Facebook, it is okay because you can communicate using a messenger and you can do always back and forth. So messenger is more instant. But on LinkedIn, because that is more professional, where a lot of senior people are hooked on, and when these people communicate, sometimes they brush the people in the wrong way. So what is your suggestion when it comes to trying to build bridges using this social media, not so much on the e-commerce, but more on the social media?
Well, it's a great question, CK, and this is all about context now. So, for instance, let me give you a stark context. If I go to into a meeting room, if I start to network, and I go and introduce myself to someone, and typically the conversation goes down, what do you do? Okay, I very rarely say, what do you do? I'm more interested in, how do you make your impact? So immediately you're asking an intriguing question apart from, oh, what do you do? Because the manual says, ask the question, what do you do? And I see you smiling away, but so many people do it. This is about people buying from people, remember. They need to, the whole point of a network arena is getting to know someone else, having a bit of fun, finding out exactly what they do. So when I ask a very direct question when I'm in networking, where do you make your biggest impact? Now, that's a really simple question to ask when you're face-to-face like this, and you can have a face-to-face discussion. But the last thing you want to be doing on LinkedIn is throwing a question out there and say, where do you make the biggest impact? Because people are going to ignore you. Equally, are you interested in personal development? It's a great question, but it's not relevant for that audience. You need to put a story together. And if you notice on LinkedIn, they're now telling you, to put a story up, as they've been doing on Facebook for the last 2 or 3 years, put it to your story. Again, think about what these brilliant platforms are doing and why they're doing it. So what is it about a story on LinkedIn that's important? Because it tells a story about something that someone has achieved using what you do. Not your achievements, because frankly, that's just standing at the top of the Matterhorn, with a huge sound blaster saying, look at me, I'm wonderful. And I'm afraid that doesn't work. It never did work. Not even the big influence in the world can actually stand on the top of Matterhorn and do that. And even the bigger ones might stand at the top of K2. And the real big ones will be getting to the top of Everest. I mean, you can see where I'm going here. Don't do it. It's a complete and utter waste of time. But it's about your storytelling capability. Can you tell a story? I'm getting messages coming in all the time about, stories really important. Yeah, thanks very much, Neville, and I can see these coming in on a live feed. And it's exciting. It is about storytelling, but how good are you at storytelling? And my question is, you never get good at it until you start practicing. So on LinkedIn, you can do lots of practice. You can have lots of failures along the way. Remember, Edison got to that light bulb over 9,999 failures, apparently. Maybe it wasn't as many as that. Maybe it was more. Does it matter? The point here is he kept trying until he got a formula that worked for him. And then it worked for us because we've got lights everywhere. So it's really about your story, CK. I can't make it simpler than that, really. And if you need to find out how to write a story, Google it. I can tell you. But remember, it's not their story. It's your story. And it's your story not about you, but about somebody else. Somebody else that's benefited from what you do. And then people can relate to that story. I'm afraid you're going to have to become a journalist, CK, if you're going to get any business on LinkedIn.
I think you are right. And that brings me to the next question, which is about canned messages. And this is very important, Neville. I seriously want to ask you about this. See, it's like this. In my opinion, I may be wrong also, but let me repeat what I feel. If you have a canned message, then you can spend your time in choosing the right keywords so that in minimum possible time, you convey the right message. Because you mentioned that, you ask, are you interested in personal development, which people are not, because they think all of us think, we are best people on the world. Who needs personal development? So nobody would need that. But if you design your canned message and you choose the word correctly, appropriately, and you convey the message in like 50 words, and then you use it as a canned message, because many global gurus says you should not use canned messages because you're not warming up to the people by using canned messages. The way I feel it is, if you try to warm up, it'll take a month, and it'll take a real communication back and forth. By the time you realize that, hey, there is no business coming from this person. So warming up will take a lot of time. But instead of that, if you can just send a canned message, you can reach out to 100 people. Out of these 100 people, probably 2 will respond back to you, understanding what you do properly, because you have conveyed a message. But what I'm saying is totally against the global gurus theory. So I wanted to ask you, what is the right practice? Should you send a canned message to an unknown person and convey what you do, because you don't know the person anyway? And if you're telling him that this is what I do, if you like, write back, hey, I'm interested, etc. And then we can warm up to each other. Or you want people to warm up and then say, hey, this is what I do. What is your opinion on this, Nebel?
Well, and another great question, CK. And my simple answer to that is try it. Because, these gurus are only gurus because they've seen something that works today in certain areas. And they're just explaining to you what works for others. If you notice, most of them have never tried it themselves. So for instance, we introduced the Good Morning Akul Mac. Now, a lot of people will have remembered that from Good Morning Vietnam. So what you're doing is you're triggering a thought, you're triggering a memory, you're triggering an experience. And if you notice, interestingly enough, the gurus have got it wrong quite clearly, because all of the adverts on TV are those little messages, 30 seconds. We have lots of adverts in the UK here now where companies actually sponsor programs. They sponsor channels for particular times of day. And there's a particular one that's about travel, and it's a travel company that's sponsoring, I think it's UK drama. And all it shows you is literally a 10-second video, and it says such and such a company sponsors UK drama. And in the background, there's lots of lovely music going on, and all you see is a picture of a big boat going down a canal past a castle or something that's there. It's very visual, but it's like 10 seconds. And it draws you in. And that's the whole point. It's that 10-second or that little meme, that picture that you will send to someone, and it draws them in. And if they're in the right mood, and you can't guarantee what that right mood is. We'll come to that in a minute, okay? Because in the digital space, they suggest that you can actually improve that mood time. But if they're in the right mood, something will trigger up here. So all you've done is you've sent them a picture, you've sent them a little video, an animated video, it could be anything. And if you've sent it to them often enough and they suddenly realize what it is, it starts to trigger the memory, and it comes from the subconscious to the conscious. And when it comes into the conscious mind, you're winning, because now they're thinking about you. And we've seen lots and lots of examples here, CK. I remember one of the best marketing examples I've seen was going back to the 80s when Microsoft launched Windows. And we saw, if you remember, there were 4 parts of a jigsaw, and Microsoft had that jigsaw up there for years. It was all part of their marketing. So now you see Windows and it's got this squiggly line, or I think even that's changed. But in the first time, Windows had 4 bits, 4 different colors of a jigsaw. When they launched that, they just sent one piece of the jigsaw out. And all it said was, coming soon, Windows. And everyone thought, what's this? What's this? So you raise anticipation. Now, Microsoft were a very big company then, of course. They're, in comparative basis, they're probably not as big as they were then, actually, because they were quite unique. Now, today, there are far more competitors out there. But the thing is, string people along. Get them into, and that's not stringing in a nasty way, because you're a nice person. You want them to buy from you. You're offering something that they really should be looking at. So, does it work? Yes. Are the GRU rules wrong? Quite clearly, yes, because big industries are doing it in a slightly different way, and they wouldn't continue it if it wasn't making them money. Makes it make any sense, CK? I bet you've used it in the past.
Well, I think I got a confirmation from you saying that, there is nothing wrong in sending canned messages, because instead of reaching out to just 10 people using canned message, you can probably reach out to 2,000 people. So I think there is nothing wrong, and that is the confirmation. There is a question, Neville. Very interesting question from Neetu Kaur Singh, and she wants to know, her question is exactly, how can we pitch by hitting hard? Would you like to answer to Neetu?
Well, I probably need to know a little bit more about the question, but let's try and think about what she's asking there. Hitting hard, the hard hitters. I'm sure you've seen it on YouTube. If you don't do this, this is going to ruin your life. It's a bit like the COVID hitting hard issue that the governments have got. You must stay at home. You've got no option. If you come out, we'll shoot you. I'm joking. I mean, but in essence, that was the feeling people were getting. So you can do hard-hitting messages. If you don't go down the gym, you won't get muscles like mine. Well, perhaps I don't want muscles like yours. So you've actually got to think about what that hard-hitting message really is. COVID will kill you if you don't take look at the messaging, the hard-hitting messaging that some governments are using about the COVID vaccination. Just take a look at what messages they're doing and look at the response they're getting. You're always going to get a backfire effect from people that say, who do you think you are? Well, how are you? What do you mean you're telling me what to do? You've got to be prepared to respond to that backfire. But if your hard-hitting message is telling people the truth, and I'm all for telling people the truth, but remember, some people on the other side need to hear the truth in a soft way. Other people need to hear it in a hard way. And we've only got another hard arena here, global warming, true or false? Now, at the moment, we've probably got 50-50. We've got 50% of saying it's nothing to do with me, and 50% are saying we're going to lose everything. But the point is, it's a hard-hitting message. You've only got to look, several years ago, the Vice President of America, when he, retired from the post, he went out and he went around the world and he was going after this hard-hitting message about global warming. For some people it worked, for others it didn't. So you need to know who your audience is as to whether it's going to work. No? Does that make sense, CK? I mean, it's about audience participation. It's about knowing your customer, knowing really what they want to hear.
Yeah, yes, Neville, I think she agrees with what you have explained to her. And I think we've already answered that you can actually choose the right keywords in your canned messages. So, Neetu, if you're hearing us out, I think we understand that you now agree with us and your question is answered. If you have any other question, please do type in and, we will respond to your question. Now, there is another question from Danisha Singh, which says 100% of you want your business to carry out a message that resembles what you offer or what you believe in, always make sure that it's true and factually correct, and know your audiences. So this is observation from Danisha Singh. Any comment on that, Neville?
Well, she's absolutely right. I mean, the last thing is know your audience. Remember, to have a successful business, you might only need one customer. You don't have to be hugely successful by the number of customers you've got. That one customer might keep you in business for the rest of your life. So it's a simple question, and it's a sort of economics 101 or business 101. If I've got a product and I sell for $1 million and I've only got one customer, is that enough? Well, the answer is, what's your margin? It's quite simple, really. If it's cost you $1,001, no, it's not enough because you've not actually recovered your cost. But if you've got 1 million customers and you're charging them $1 and you're making a 40% markup, happy days. Because all of a sudden, repeat business after a while, you'll become a millionaire. So it's not rocket science that we're talking here, but it's a lot of common sense. But unfortunately, common sense isn't common practice. I'd just like to sort of leave on a message here of just a quick wrap up to what we've been saying. Go and have a look. If you're in the world of entrepreneurship and you are what you might think is that you're a bit of a me too, or even if you're not a me too, this is a perfectly good exercise to do. Go on to eBay. Go and look at how these suppliers are shown to you. If you click on them, you will see lots of ratings. It will say seller confidence, feedback. This person gets 99.6% feedback. Then have a look at the feedback they're getting. You can do the same on Amazon because Amazon do the same thing. I get it all the time. I buy quite a bit off Amazon. Some of it because I'm interested and I want to see what's going on. Others because I really do need the product. But Amazon will go back to you and say, have you given feedback? Did you like this product? What was it you liked about the product? So your challenge today, and it's a simple challenge, is go and have a look at what these big platforms are doing and learn from them, because it's the best learning place ever. I mean, they've spent millions of dollars on their platform. They have hundreds of thousands of sellers on their platform. Some are very happy about being on the platform, some aren't happy. But just take a look at what other people are doing. You're not copying them, you're just taking best practice. And this is about common sense. Common sense is about taking good practice from somewhere else and applying it in your arena. It's the simplest message we can have today, and it's all about people buying from people. So take the experience that's out there and apply it into your business.
Neville, thank you so much for finding time and giving your wisdom to us and our viewers. And thank you so much, viewers, to participate and ask questions, especially Danisha, Neetu, and Amit. Please join back tomorrow at 12 noon India time. We'll be back again with some other interesting business subject along with Neville. So Neville, I like to say goodbye for today, only to catch you tomorrow.